One of the first Shakespeare plays I ever saw when I was a kid was Julius Caesar at Montana, Shakespeare in the Park. And that was kind of part of my wanting to be an actor.
Anybody who works in theater worships at the altar of William Shakespeare. So I've read it and I've seen it and I've thought a lot about it.
I've been studying Julius Caesar for at least the last 30 years. And I guess before that, because I started in high school.
Julius Caesar is about the repercussions of political violence.
Yeah, if you were to summarize it in one line, it's basically, yeah, don't kill your leader. It just doesn't work out.
They're all dead by the end of the play.
Absolutely, they are not saying that violence is good.
I would say that saying Julius Caesar condones assassination is like saying The Shining condones spending the winter at a creepy old hotel. It's not a good idea, and it will lead to bad things.
So my general impression of the plot is that it starts off with Julius Caesar about to be celebrated, and then Cassius convinces Brutus to assassinate Caesar, and then they do. And Mark Antony is pissed.
The famous speech, one of the most famous in Shakespeare, and that is, "Friends, Romans, and countrymen, lend me your ears."
All they see on the surface is, oh, they have this guy dressed as Trump who's supposed to mimic or mirror Julius Caesar, and then he's killed and he's stabbed to death, and that's that's as far as they go. But if you look at what the play is actually about, which is about the repercussions of political violence, you'd see that it actually is a terrible thing. It ends up bad for everybody in the end.
And it's also not the end of the play, which is something that people keep saying. It's not the final act of this play. It's literally the middle of the play. It's the driving action for the rest of it.
Yeah, they misunderstand this whole second half with the growing awareness of the chaos unleashed by this assassination.
The vibe when Caesar is assassinated is, it's chaos, it's absolute tragedy. His wife is left a widow. Society crumbles. The people who carried out the assassination are expecting, gratitude, and they're expecting to be able to take over, and society falls apart.
It has been said that it is shocking to see the person who is the current president being depicted as being violently assassinated. And yeah, that's absolutely true. But that's also woven into the fiber of the play. It's kind of the point.
I think it's meant to be horrifying. I think there's no question that it's meant to be horrifying. Particularly because, again, Caesar, the interesting thing about Caesar is that, to my memory, they basically admit that he hasn't done anything. The reason why Caesar is being assassinated is because there's the fear that he may do something. The interesting thing about the whole controversy is that when I look at Julius Caesar, it's pretty much acknowledged that Julius Caesar is a great man.
I think it's just based on a really huge misunderstanding.
I think the main issue with Shakespeare is, and that every theater company faces, is how do I make this accessible to a modern audience? I mean, it's practically written in a different language, and it's been done so many times. So how do you make it topical? How do you make it fresh and new? And so I think the easiest way to do that is, oh, it's about politics, let's make it about the politics of the day.
Theatrical productions like to dress themselves up with current representations. It helps the audience understand, oh, that's the leader. He looks like my leader now. I get it, he's the leader, so I see the impact when something happens to him.
But I do think that what's tending to happen nowadays, and this actually I would say happens to audience members who perhaps have a conservative bent, as well as audiences that have a liberal bent. I think that one of the things that's happened is that we as a society are tending to have these knee-jerk reactions to things. And so and again, this is aided by social media and aided by YouTube, where we're being fed these tiny clips, right, that are only a fragment of what the whole is. And we're making our judgments based on what those tiny clips are. Which ironically is basically what's happening to the Romans in Julius Caesar.
There's two types of good theater, right? There's the kind that's entertaining, and you can kind of leave behind the world for 2 hours and just have fun. That's a really worthwhile piece of theater. And then there's the other piece of theater where you come in and the piece holds a mirror up to society, and you realize, whoa, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. And I think that this is that type of theater.
I love it. Personally, I think it's great because even even though it makes people uncomfortable, sometimes that's art's job.